Heating system check now with ARS for only $59. But do it fast. This $59 heating system check special ends soon. Visit arsofvirginia.com.
Good morning, America. Breaking overnight, the Senate takes a major step to repeal Obamacare after a confirmation clash on Capitol Hill for President-elect Trump's pick for Secretary of State.
Is Vladimir Putin a war criminal?
Trump rival Marco Rubio throws down the gauntlet. Is Rex Tillerson in trouble as the president-elect faces off against the media?
No, not you. Can you give us a chance? Your organization's terrible.
Flash flood danger. Northern California pounded by more than 2 feet of rain as the third major storm this week moves in. These flooded rivers washing away roads. The high water rescues. Thousands forced to evacuate. And now a major ice storm targeting the center of the country.
Dramatic shootout. A deputy responds to a call, then forced to run for his life as the suspect starts firing. A SWAT team rushes to the scene, the frightening standoff caught on camera.
Good to be alive. The snowboarder swallowed by an avalanche, sliding down a mountain, buried by the snow. The birthday present strapped to his back that may have helped keep him alive.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
And good morning, America. Great to be with all of you. I felt like I was going down the mountain with that man right there, Tom Wjla. And as we said, he's lucky to be alive. 20 minutes going down there. 20 seconds, I should say. Now, that would be something. 20 seconds in an avalanche. We're going to show you that, and we have a lot of news to get through this morning and a lot of tough weather out west.
Yeah, you know, we see all that snow, but there's so much rain as well. Let's take a look at this home in California that is so flooded that you can see someone is kayaking through the home.
Why would you want to?
Yeah, that's hard to watch like that. But Ginger's going to have much more on that dangerous flooding coming up. But first, big news from Washington overnight. The Senate taking those first steps to repeal the Affordable Care Act, and also word that one of Donald Trump's major nominees may be in trouble. Our congressional correspondent Mary Bruce starts us off from Capitol Hill. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Robin. It was a dramatic late night here at the Capitol. The Senate buzzing until after 1 o'clock this morning. Lawmakers coming one step closer to repealing Obamacare. But there is still a long, bitter fight ahead. And this morning, as you mentioned, another fight is brewing. We are now seeing what could be the first major roadblock to a Trump nominee. The president-elect's former rival possibly standing in the way of his pick for Secretary of State. Throughout the 9-hour confirmation hearing, Marco Rubio hammered former ExxonMobil CEO Rex Tillerson on his ties to Vladimir Putin.
Is Vladimir Putin a war criminal?
I would not use that term.
Do you believe that Vladimir Putin and his cronies are responsible for ordering the murder of countless dissidents, journalists, and political opponents?
I do not have sufficient information to make that claim.
None of this is classified, Mr. Tillerson. These people are dead.
Rubio's vote is key. Republicans have just a one-person majority on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Without his support, Tillerson's nomination could stall. And this morning, Trump's former rival is still not convinced.
You know, I have to make sure that I'm 100% behind whatever decision that I make.
Straight off the bat, Tillerson took a strong stance on Russia.
We must also be clear-eyed about our relationship with Russia. Russia today poses a danger. Our NATO allies are right to be alarmed at a resurgent Russia.
But his relationship with Vladimir Putin was hard to shake.
I and many of my colleagues have deep concerns about your relationship with Mr. Putin.
Do you believe these activities could have happened without the knowledge and the consent of Vladimir Putin?
What are you going to say to Vladimir Putin when he says to you, but Rex, you said sanctions were bad?
My pivot now, if confirmed to be Secretary of State, will have one mission only, and that is to represent the interest of the American people.
Under fire for their unusual ties. Seen here toasting with champagne, Putin giving him the Order of Friendship Award. The question now, could Trump's pick for the nation's top diplomat be in jeopardy?
I think it's important, if you're going to stand for moral clarity, that you be clear.
Now this morning, some Republicans are urging Rubio to meet with Tillerson again. And Rubio, he's holding his cards close. But without his support, Tillerson could lose that key vote in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and that could put his whole confirmation at real risk. George.
Okay, Mary, thanks very much. Let's talk about this more now with John Carl is right here as well. That really was something yesterday. Marco Rubio, Rex Tillerson going head to head, and he really bore down. And if he does vote no, it could put the nomination in jeopardy.
No question about it, George. First of all, if he votes no in the committee, it becomes, if the Democrats say no, it becomes a negative vote against Tillerson in the
Although
Foreign
that
Relations
doesn't tank
Committee.
it completely.
That doesn't tank it. They can still have a floor vote. But what did John McCain and Lindsey Graham do if their partner in crime, Marco Rubio, is voting no? They've been as critical as Rubio of Tillerson, of the Russia ties. It could create a situation where the Tillerson vote goes down.
Right. If you lose 3 Republicans, likely it could go.
Enormous pressure on Rubio on this. But I've got to tell you, the Republicans are confident that at the end of the day, Rubio will see what a big deal this would be, how it would freeze him out for the rest of Trump's term, create a lot of enemies in his own party, and they believe that Rubio ultimately will vote yes.
And he is giving Tillerson a second chance, going to submit written questions. We'll see what happens there. Let's talk about Obamacare. First big vote last night in the Senate, just basically a framework for how to repeal. This is just a first step.
This is just a first step, but it's a critically important first step because if the House follows suit, what it does is it sets up a situation where Obamacare can be repealed with just 51 votes.
Only Republicans can do it.
Republicans can do it on their own. Now, Trump is promising a plan within weeks to have, repeal and replace, but we still have no idea what he wants to replace it with.
And real divisions inside the Republican Party over how to replace Obamacare. Meantime, the confirmation hearings continue. Ben Carson, another former rival of Donald Trump, up today. He's been nominated for for housing secretary, even though he's a surgeon.
This may be the most interesting hearing of all because Ben Carson is a brain surgeon. He's a neurosurgeon, brilliant, has a great personal story. He has no experience whatsoever in the issue of public housing. So he is going to be drilled for hours on the specifics of what housing and urban development does. We'll see how much homework he's been doing.
Well, presumably he has boned up on all this.
I know that he's been doing mock hearings. They've taped these hearings. They've looked at game tape. He's done a lot of homework. But this is an entirely new field for him. It is not brain surgery. So we'll see how he does.
Okay, John Carl, thanks very much. Michael?
All right, thank you, George. And let's bring in Cecilia Vega now to talk about all the fallout from President-elect Trump's press conference yesterday where it got pretty heated, and you were in the middle of it all.
Yeah, I had a front row seat to it, Michael. Good morning to you. When you go 168 days without a press conference, it is bound to be a free-for-all, and this one was. There were bombshells and there were fireworks.
Can you give us a question?
Donald Trump's first news conference since Election Day turning heated.
Mr. President-elect, go ahead. Can you say categorically? She's asking a question. Mr. President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You're
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can you give us a question?
I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
The president-elect refusing to call on a CNN reporter angry about that story on those bombshell dossier allegations.
It's all fake news. It's phony stuff. It didn't happen.
Trump denying unsubstantiated claims that he was caught on camera in a Russian hotel room engaged in salacious behavior, saying he'd never fall for such a ruse.
I'm surrounded by bodyguards. I'm surrounded by people. And I always tell them, anywhere, but I always tell them, if I'm leaving this country, be very careful.
But this morning, his attack on intelligence agencies under attack too.
That the intelligence agencies allowed any information that turned out to be so false and fake out. I think it's a disgrace. And I say that, and that's something that Nazi Germany would have done and did do.
Jewish groups calling that an offensive trivialization of the Holocaust. Ethics experts also expressing concern about his big reveal. In those folders, his plan to turn over operations of the Trump family business to his 2 sons, Don Jr. and Eric.
I hope at the end of 8 years I'll come back and I'll say, oh, you did a good job. Otherwise, if they do a bad job, I'll say, you're fired.
Trump saying he'll still maintain ownership and that he will not divest himself. There will be no foreign deals of any kind, and money paid to his hotels by foreign governments will be donated to the U.S. government. And this first, the president-elect saying he accepts those intelligence findings that Russia hacked the Democrats in the lead-up to the election.
As far as hacking, I think it was Russia.
But then he wavered.
You know what? Could have been others also.
But not without delivering a harsh message.
If you indeed do believe that Russia was behind the hacking, what is your message to Vladimir Putin right now?
He shouldn't be doing it. He won't be doing it. Russia will have much greater respect for our country when I'm leading it than when others.
Yeah, a very rare admonition of Vladimir Putin right there. I also asked the president-elect point blank whether he or anyone on his team had any contact with Russia during the campaign. He came back over, Michael, and he told me no, not at all. So point blank there.
And also, you were in the room when he had the heated exchange with the CNN reporter. So what was the mood like after that happened? And do you expect it to be the new normal going forward?
You know, I think the mood in that room was just generally stunned. You're used to seeing sparring at a presidential level press conference. This was more than that. This was more than heated. This was very confrontational. And the question is whether this will be the new norm. I think this has the potential to have a chilling effect. You know, the question is whether Donald Trump was trying to initiate some retribution here for a story that he didn't like. And it's certainly setting the stage for a pretty hostile relationship for the next 4 years with his press corps.
Well, I tell you what, we keep our eye on the future and more of these press conferences as well. And George, back to you.
Yeah, we're going to get more on that right now. As Cecilia laid out at that press conference, the president laid out how he's going to deal with his business while he's in the White House, saying he's turning over control to his 2 oldest sons. As she said, no new foreign deals. But he also stressed that the law said he could do deals like that if he chose. Take a look.
And was offered $2 billion to do a deal in Dubai. Number of deals. And I turned it down. I didn't have to turn it down because, as you know, I have a no conflict situation because I'm president, which is, I didn't know about that until about 3 months ago, but it's a nice thing to have.
He's saying that offer came in just this week, and let's talk to Dan Abrams about this right now. Kind of unusual right there as well. The president is right that the conflict of interest law does not apply to the president, yet you had the head of the Office of Government Ethics come out last night and say what he's done is completely meaningless in terms of conflicts of interest.
Right, so let's separate this out into ethics and legal. Let's start with the ethical side of this. He still owns the company. What does that mean? It means that when the company gets richer, Donald Trump gets richer. It also means, and this is something people aren't talking about enough, he is still subject to litigation. So if someone is suing the company, Donald Trump still has to be involved in that litigation. That's a big deal.
And a third point there, he also knows what his company is. He knows where the businesses are. He knows whether actions he's going to take will help the company.
Of course, look, all he's saying in effect is, I'm not going to have day-to-day control over the company, and there are going to be certain restrictions that someone internally is going to oversee. But this does not address, according to almost all ethics experts, the ethical concerns
Yet
about
there
this.
is also one big law that he may be in conflict with. That's the Constitution.
All right, let's talk law for a minute. He is absolutely right that the conflict of interest law does not apply to the president and vice president. That would have been the most likely law someone would say that he could potentially be violating. But there is a clause in the Constitution that a lot of people are talking about now called the Emoluments Clause, which basically says that you can't get earnings or pay from a foreign state. That's what the emolument means. And constitutional law professors, at the very least, believe this is dangerous legal territory for him. There is a bit of a divide over whether it's going to apply, and he's trying to minimize that by saying, look, we're not going to actually benefit from that foreign money. We're going to donate it in the hope that
profits.
Right, in the hope that that'll somehow make this less of a concern. But I can tell you, the vast majority of legal experts you talk to say this is dangerous legal territory.
And almost certainly someone or some institution will bring a legal challenge.
Absolutely.
Okay, Dan Abrams, thanks very much.
And George, we're also learning more about those unconfirmed claims that Trump was targeted in a Russian effort to personally compromise him. Intelligence officials say the unconfirmed claims should not have been leaked to the public. Our chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross, is here, has the latest for us. Good morning, Brian.
Well, good morning, Robin. The intelligence community this morning is offering a kind of apology to Donald Trump, with the director of national intelligence, James Clapper, saying in a statement that he talked with Donald Trump overnight and shared his profound dismay about the leaks of information. Clapper said no decision had been made about whether the information is reliable, but he went on to seemingly confirm that Trump had been briefed, saying part of our obligation is to ensure that policymakers are provided with the fullest possible picture of any matters that might affect national security. Robin.
So with all that being said, the FBI, the CAA, what do they make of these current allegations?
Well, exactly. Lost in all the back and forth at the news conference is the fact the FBI continues to investigate the allegations. intelligence. ABC News has learned they were turned over by a former British spy who's now been identified as an employee of this London private security company. He's described as being well known to the FBI, a reliable source of information in a number of past criminal investigations involving Russian organized crime and corruption in the International Soccer Federation, Robin.
So bottom line, the investigation is continuing?
Absolutely it is, yes.
All right, Brian, thank you very much. Now, Amy has the morning's other top stories, starting with a major recall.
That's right. Honda is recalling nearly 800,000 vehicles because of their potentially dangerous airbags. The inflators made by Takata can explode, sending pieces of metal flying through the car. Older model Accords and Civics are among the cars affected, and we'll have the full list on our website. And some breaking news from Baltimore this morning, where 6 children have been reported missing after a house fire. 3 others are confirmed injured. The building partially collapsed, and firefighters are now having a very difficult time getting inside that house. Well, a U.S. military investigation has found 33 Afghan civilians were killed during a battle with the Taliban back in November when airstrikes were called in during a firefight. 2 U.S. soldiers also died. And a Georgia man faces attempted murder charges after a shootout with an officer. The deputy was responding to a domestic call when the suspect fired toward his vehicle. The deputy is seen then running away, jumping over a gate right there before the suspect fired again. Wow, and was finally wounded. He was later arrested after a standoff. Both men survived their injuries. And finally, consider this, and this is to you guys. The next time you take a selfie and you flash the peace sign, identity thieves could steal your fingerprints. Scientists in Japan say smartphone cameras are now so sophisticated that it is possible to steal your fingerprints from a photo taken up to 10 feet away, as long as you've got that index and middle finger clearly visible. Now, I can say honestly, and I'm guessing, I've never done this.
Well, you just did it.
But
you just gave it away.
Now they all are seeing it right there.
But my kids do it. Do your daughters do that?
Oh, no, not at all.
You know what that means.
It drives me crazy. Now I have another reason to tell them to stop.
Keep your hands down.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Amy. Now, let's turn to that major flooding in the West, forcing thousands to evacuate, and Kana Whitworth is in the middle of it all in Guerneville, California. Good morning, Kana.
Michael, good morning. Here in Sonoma County, the Russian River rose well above flood levels for a second time this week, impacting more than 650 homes, thousands more without power, and businesses taking a hit as well. Look behind me. That dips down. They are under 6 feet of water. Some people feel lucky they made it out at all. This morning, flash flooding pounding Northern California. Emergency crews working relentlessly, performing more than 50 high water rescues.
We can't see the road. We're kind of just guessing.
This deluge forcing residents to evacuate home after home in Hollister underwater.
It was about 2 or 3 feet deep out there, moving fast.
I hear my mom coming out from the door yelling, girls, get up, it's flooded outside.
Watch as this woman kayaks in her living room after her home was overtaken by floodwaters. Sonoma County submerged for a second time in a week. We met with 83-year-old Ibi Charqua, who was rescued from her home in Guerneville.
Said, oh my God, I'm in the middle of a lake.
In Oregon, residents digging out after more than a foot of snow shut down the city of Portland. The governor declaring a state of emergency. Crews clearing out trees that have collapsed under the weight of all the snow. And in Colorado, this roof caving in on top of a popular hotel. Thankfully, there were no reported injuries. Now, this region is known for producing great wine, and now they have to rebuild after the biggest rain event in the state of California in more than a decade. Guys.
Okay, Kana, thanks very much. Big rain in California. Ginger, you're following ice.
Right, because that same low is going to ride along a jet stream and a stationary front, which I'll show you in a moment, and get to the middle of the nation. It's already icing, already freezing rain, actually, in central Illinois and northern Illinois this morning. That's why you have those freezing rain advisories. But watch this setup, guys. We've got that moist air over the stationary front. It could produce 3/4 of an inch to an inch of ice this weekend, Friday through Sunday, right there from places like Topeka up through Champaign, Illinois. Your local weather in 30 seconds. First, though, the Sunny Cities, brought to you by CarMax.
CarMax offers a 5-day money-back guarantee, so you can return a car you've purchased for any reason within 5 days for a full refund. Now, this is not some kind of an advertising gimmick. It's just the right thing to do, like saving puppies in a hurricane, or helping a tortoise across a busy road, or not eating somebody's yogurt when it is clearly marked with their name. I know it was you, Bill. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. To recap, 5-day guarantee, puppies, tortoises, yogurt.
Wow, today's going to be a very warm day here in January. 64 the high, a little breezy during the afternoon, but some of you may be in short sleeves later. And then it's a switch over to more wintry weather on Saturday. In fact, a weather alert as we have snow switching over to freezing rain, icy roads expected throughout.